Hi, thank you for joining me. Today we'll be doing some stamping with the stamp set called Nothing Better Than. It's a lot of fun to play with. We're actually going to be making a window sheet card as well as a little white cardstock bag for some chocolate treats. So let's get started. For our first project, we'll be making this window card that has shaded spruce as its card base and soft seafoam for the inside of the card. We'll also be cutting out some coffee cups and sentiments to place on our window card. This piece of designer series paper is forever greenery and very colorful and versatile for many different projects. But in today's case, we're going to use it for our canopy of our coffee cafe shop. I'll be using Nothing's Better Than stamp set, as well as the dies that come with that bundle. And in addition, to create the effect of the canopy, I've chosen this border die from Ornate Borders. First of all, we're going to prepare all the little pieces we need to put our card together. So I'll be using the border die cut on this designer series paper, and I'm going to need to stamp my coffee cups and sentiments so that I can die cut the coffee cups as well. I'll be using shaded spruce. So let's get those things stamped and ready to cut. 1, 2, and 3. It's always, oops, that one didn't come out very well. Let's try another one down here. There we go. It's always so handy to keep scraps. I don't know about you, but I tend to, I don't know if hoarding is the right word, but I do hog up my scraps. I keep a little bin next to my crafting table so that whenever I need just a little smidgen of a color, I have it handy. Now what I've done is just taken a little leftover piece, it's a 1/2 inch wide, so that I could stamp my words, and I just used both sides of my little acrylic block just for making it easier. I am going to be trimming these out, so the fact that I stamped them one way or the other isn't important as long as it's centered in that 1/2 inch strip. I have several pieces to trim, and I'm going to start by trimming the cafe canopy with this ornate border piece. So just line that up. I keep some tape here handy. It's washi tape. It's very easy to use. Holds down my die, keep it from sliding, but it doesn't stick to the paper permanently. And we'll place our top plate on there and just run this through the die machine. Let's see. I'm not sure I got that placed just right. Let's scoot that over just a little bit more. Now we have the cute little canopy border. We need to die cut our 3 little coffee cups, so we're going to run that through 3 times. Here we are with our little die cut pieces, the canopy with the ornate border trim, and our 3 stamped coffee cups for our window. Now we're going to need to trim the words that we stamped, so I'm going to just make that as snug as possible. I'll be layering that on top of a piece of ribbon, so we don't want it to be too wide. I like prepping my pieces before actually get to the meat of the card. That way it just feels so much quicker when it comes to assembly time. Cutting my cardstock is actually not difficult. I'm going to be working from one end of it. So I'm going to open it up. This is a piece of 5.5 by 8.5. And I have already scored it at 4 1/4. And I'm going to start from one end of the card and cut it so that 1.5 inches, let's turn that around, so that 1.5 inches is cut off. That's the piece I'm going to be saving for the bottom of the window. It's easier for me if I turn my card around, and I'm going to line up this crease at the 1 inch mark. I only need 1 inch at the top of my card. I need this piece to die cut my word coffee for the top of my card. I've used some double stick adhesive on the back side of my shaded spruce piece from the middle section, and that's going to help me adhere the word coffee easily onto my card. So just place this in the center of the card and use my plate. Let's run this through. Now I don't have to worry about a lot of messy glue getting around the words on my card. Use my little pick tool here to get these pieces out. Clean that up a little bit. Like I said, I like to prepare all my little pieces before I put the card together. Taking my card base with the 1 inch and the bottom that I had cut off, which was 1.5 inches, I now have a space where I'm going to need to adhere my window sheet. Before I put all those pieces together, let's go ahead and place our canopy at the top of our card. And that's just a little bit of adhesive, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal and just place that about 1/8 of an inch margin from the top. So it's truly a canopy. You see it hangs over. I'm using a 2.5 by 5.5 inch window sheet. I'm going to place the double-sided tape under my canopy on the designer series paper. That gives me a little bit more margin to extend my window, holding it to the bottom piece. So place that, line it up. Okay. And now I'm ready to place some adhesive on top of my window sheet, as it will be holding on to the bottom piece. There we go. And peeling this up with my pick tool certainly helps. The 1.5 inch piece goes directly onto the window sheet. And now we have this gap. I have all my little pieces ready to go. I have my window sheet adhered to the bottom end, the canopy, and I'm going to place this ribbon. This is a ribbon that continued from last year's catalog. It's a reversible ribbon. It's a beautiful combination of Pretty Peacock and Olive, which gives a nice blend, creating a combination with the designer series paper and the shaded spruce. I'm just going to put a straight strip of ribbon, so let's just snip it in place and place some adhesive on the back. noticed that my cardstock seemed to be just a little angled for some reason, so I'm able to straighten it with that ribbon. There's no mistake in stamping, only in the opportunity to be creative. Okay, let's go back to this piece. If you recall, I cut this word coffee from our die cuts that comes with the Nothing But Better Than bundle. And this adhesive is actually quite easy to peel off. You just simply by folding back the cardstock, it separates from that adhesive. Now you can tell that my canopy has pretty much every color of every shade of green that we have in Stampin' Up. I'm going to place the word coffee over the lighter colors so that it pops just a little bit more. So there we are with that. And then we're going to place these coffee cups right here to the left side of the card and make sure our words are in the right place. Today is a 3-cup of coffee kind of day. So now that I have my pieces in place, I can get my glue dots, or actually I'm going to use dimensionals for my coffee cups. So I'll place one in behind each of these. Grabbing my silicone mat, it makes it easier to put that adhesive behind it so that the adhesive doesn't get onto the rest of my card or my workspace. 2 tools I highly recommend, one being the pick tool that you've seen me using, and the other one is that silicone mat, because it certainly makes it easier to keep things in place. Now, to show that contrast of our window and also to allow for any personal writing message that you want to put in your card to be easily read, I suggest putting a lighter shade. In this case, we're going to use the soft seafoam so that you'll get that nice contrast and legible writing place. There we go. Isn't that a lovely card? For our next project, we'll continue using Nothing's Better Than. And this is a little treat box. It's made from thick Whisper White cardstock with a little bit of designer series paper layered with an oval cut. The top is made from layering ovals as well, and we'll top it off with a ribbon. Let's get started. We'll be scoring this at 1/2 inch, at 1.5 inches, at 4 1/4, and 5 1/4. That's against the long side. Now we'll flip it to the short side, and we need a 1-inch score line, and that'll help us create the bottom. We'll want to burnish this using our bone folder. For the outside of my bag, I'm going to need a piece of cinnamon cider that measures 2.5 by 4 1/4, and a piece of the designer series paper that coordinates with that, cut at 2 1/4 by 4 inches. So let me get the cutting board out, and we'll start with our designer series paper. I want my direction to be upright, and I will cut this at 4 inches by 2 1/4. So let's go with the 2 1/4 piece first. inches of that. So we have that piece, and then this cinnamon cider needs to be 2.5, 4 1/4. And this one is 2.5. So 4 1/4, 2.5. Let me make sure of my measurements. Yeah, and then 4 by 2 1/4. You can barely tell the difference. The nice thing about using the cinnamon cider cardstock underneath the designer series paper, it gives that bag just a little bit more thickness and durability. Not that you really need a lot, right, for chocolate. Okay, we're gonna place this cardstock onto our bag before we put it together. It just makes it a lot easier to lay things in place here. So we'll start with the cinnamon cider, and then we'll layer the designer series paper above that. This new sealant tape is so slick that it's hard to even tell when it's on the paper. It's just so smooth. All right, we're going to be stamping onto a piece of stitched oval. I'm going to use the stitch layered oval on top of my designer series paper. This is the large stitched oval in that set. I've already taken the sentiments from Nothing's Better Than stamp set, and I've aligned them equally by using my grid paper. Just lay the stamps onto my grid paper, aligning them evenly, and then I just place my block on top of them. So now I'm ready to stamp my sentiment. Open up my cinnamon cider ink, and let's ink up my stamps. And let's go ahead and stamp on a flat surface just to be safe here. Line that up and give it a nice even push. Today's plan: consume chocolate and be awesome. This makes a really sweet motivational little gift to give someone. All right, so be sure to place the sentiment and stamp your chocolates before you place the sentiments on your paper. Oh boy, let's see what we can do to fix that. I'm gonna need to, let me remove that, and that'll give it flat surface. Oh, silly, silly girl here. We're going to use cinnamon cider for the outline chocolate stamp and give it a nice tug there. This is the filler stamp, and what I'm going to do with that is actually ink off. And what I mean by that is, on a piece of paper, take some of that ink off and then put it on top of my chocolate like that, so that it's a lighter shade of cinnamon cider. Okay, we were able to salvage that. I thought it looked a little plain just laying there. I'm going to get some dimensional and take off both sticky sides, which is making it tricky here. And we'll just tuck that down there. There we go. Problem solved, rescued, redeemed. Okay, let's get these bottom pieces snipped off. So we're going to put some adhesive here now, and I think I'll use my liquid adhesive this time. Oh, before I do that, let's go ahead and adhere some double-sided tape here. And I could be using the Stamping Seal Plus. I have not received mine yet. It was on back order. I need to check. Maybe I forgot to order it, but I'll check. I hear that that is a really strong adhesive. Of course, it rolls on like the Stamping Plus. All right, the easiest way to make sure this is aligned is just to fold it over like that and just bring this other half straight down. We've already been creasing it plenty with our bone folder. Okay. There we go. Now, that helps me align the pieces I want to put some liquid glue on. So I'm going to put it on those two tabs and bring the bottom up. Then I'm going to place adhesive on the top of that and bring that piece over. So I can use my bone folder. I'm going to just put the back in there and give it a little push so that it adheres nicely. Now, the top of the bag looks like it's left open, but what we're going to do is we're going to close it by using some layered oval pieces. So I've taken from the layering ovals set a piece that is scalloped. This is about 2 3/4 inches wide, and then the coordinating smooth oval is cut out of the designer series paper. And again, you'll notice that I was careful to die cut that so that the directionality is similar to what's already on the front of the box. So I'm going to lay this on top of it and use some adhesive here. And then I'm going to give that a careful little fold here and meet them together, have the pieces meet together almost like a little taco. And let's use the bone folder. You can also opt to use your score board or the score line on your machine. This piece is so small that I've done it both ways, and I find it quite easy to just fold it in half like a little taco. We're going to put some adhesive on the inside of the back of the oval and place it to the back of our bag like such. Okay, and that's going to hold on. And of course, in order to keep it closed, what we're going to want to do is use something that's not necessarily sold at Stampin' Up, but it's very handy and convenient. There's a lot of ways that you can close this. I have little magnetic pieces. I have these pieces of Velcro. They're 5/8 of an inch in diameter. I'll put that piece there, and I'll put its matching piece on it. Peel off that adhesive. There we go. And now I can just close that up. And there we go. Now my Velcro is holding it in place. Lastly, we're going to add this quick little bow. This is my cinnamon cider ribbon. It's our In Color suite, one of the In Color of the suite of ribbons. Make a quick little bow here. Grab a glue dot and place it onto the box. Okay, tell you what, my glue dots are a little far from me at the moment, so I'm going to use this little mini dimensional instead. Same concept and same value. It gets it adhered onto the bag. So there you go, cute little. Now, just to show you the nice size that it is, I have some Ghirardelli chocolates here. Let's see. Ooh, 60% cocoa. This nice, dark, rich chocolate. And then I even have a dark chocolate mint. Let's see if I can get all three of those in here. And indeed I can. That is a perfect fit. 3 Ghirardelli chocolates. What a nice gift to give to a friend or colleague at work. Hope you've enjoyed these projects. It's been fun stamping with you this Saturday morning. Stay tuned, and I hope to see you again. I do go live on Facebook Thursday evenings for Sip and Stamp and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you around.